Hello. How are you guys? Haven't seen you in so long. Actually, what a silly thing to say because I can't see you at all. Now, guys, every video we start off with a cheers. Here's a little Guelph. Salute and oh yeah, now that's how we start a video. Now, guys, there seems to be a couple of questions in the community. And yes, believe it or not, I may not have been putting up videos or making very many comments, but I'm pretty much watching all of them. I'll hit a thumbs up always. First one is I saw was, what do you do to, help yourself with your model and your research? Well, unfortunately, I do too much. I research a model that I'm building, and then by the time I've researched the whole thing in my head, I've already built it, and I usually lose any interest in finishing it. So I'm trying not to do as much, shall we say, research, and just go with the flow. Another thing that helps is I just put things in the background, like if I'm building something military based on World War II in the Ardennes, I'll put a documentary or two on. If I'm building something based out of Russia, Afghanistan, Syria, wherever. I'm almost ready to do my one based out of Croatia. Better get that started before there's another war. So that's what I do. Mostly watch YouTube videos and research, but nowadays try not to do too much research because I already know the basics of where the mud goes on a tank or where this dirt goes or what that. When it comes to figures, which is something I do, I research how to paint it, not what to paint and copy, but just how to paint. I find when you use, like in fantasy figures, your own colors, then you're more satisfied. Like for example, I'm working on this dragon, and technically these dragons are supposed to be blue. Well, I thought more of a green-blue hue and stuff like that. Greens and blues would be nicer, and then it's supposed to be gold armor. Well, I was thinking maybe of doing something reddish, red metallic armor to go with the green. And then, the figure that goes on top, I'm not sure what he'll be, but it goes on top. But his armor will match the armor that, I guess, basically, that the dragons are. So that's something I'm working on. In fact, there's two of those to the kit. I'll probably only do one at a time. The other thing is I've got my Angron, which, I'll be honest, guys, this thing scares the living crap out of me. Not just because he's so evil looking, but there is so much detail and work to do on that one. I pick it up, I look at it, and put it back down. I'll get to it one day. I've started military kits, and I research all this stuff around that. So that's the thing. That's what I do when I get a kit. Next, what do I do when I feel like I'm getting in a slump? Well, I watched some of the videos, and there's a recurring theme that I caught myself in many years ago. Hence why I now build what I want, when I want. The schedule. People expect you to put up a video once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever like that, because you have a video schedule. That's how you make a channel work. It takes it's actual work to make a channel. It's not just here, make this, hang out, and then become popular, just by hanging out with people. You got to put videos up, and then you got to put them up consistently, and you got to put them up, frequently enough that people don't forget about the last one and then are actually hoping and waiting for this one. Well, I did that in the beginning. What was that, 10 years ago now? And I forgot why I got in to YouTube. And I got into YouTube, to answer the next question, for the camaraderie. Back in the day, when I first started, we all be watching Dr. Cranky, and then the Google Hangouts were being broadcast onto YouTube, and then there'd be private ones in the background, whatever. And we would all hang out together, but you needed a YouTube channel to hang out on YouTube. So that was okay. So I made a YouTube channel, and since I was hanging out with car guys, because back when I got back into the hobby, that's all I could afford. Well, technically I could afford the other ones, I just didn't want to. Wasn't quite sure if I was ready to dabble back into the level that I used to be, which was military. Now, things have got a little different nowadays. Car models have become a lot more expensive than they were 10 or 15 years ago. So the military models, but they've actually come a little closer together. Now, when I first started out, the car models were cheap or inexpensive. Now, you get an AMT model, pick it up for, I don't know, 20 bucks, 25 bucks. And then, the Revell ones were a little more expensive. But they were nothing was over $30 ever. And the average military kit was running anywhere from 50 up. Of course, to me, that's a different story. They would run cars at $50 up. Their pricing is the same across the board, whatever you're buying nowadays. But I don't mean like Mang and stuff like that, were like way out of what I was willing to pay, and at the time that I was willing to deal with the aggravation of buying a $100 model when, and coming home and somebody looking at me going, how much did you spend for that? And you guys all know that because we all get it. And, you start playing the game, leave it in the car, sneak it in the house when she goes to sleep. Well, I didn't like that idea, so I just built cheap cars. And then we started getting into the 48-hour builds, and that's when my channel started to take off, and then the camaraderie and starting building cars and exclusively. And that is when I got into a rut. After about 3 or 4 years of doing that, I got in a rut, and I sat back, because that's how I get out of that funk. I sat back and went, why am I in a rut? Well, it's my schedule. I rush up north to come home every Friday, or at the end every Thursday. And then I gotta rush home every Sunday night. So, you'd get there Friday morning or afternoon, whatever, late afternoon, and there'd be a rush. And then it'd be, okay, what can I do all weekend? I'd be down there, let's see, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta get a video made and produced, maybe two or three of them on the weekend. You gotta start one, and then you got a middle one, and then you got your end one. Usually 48-hour builds. At the end there, we were doing like 1 or 2 a month. It was getting a little crazy. And then that was burning me out. And then I'd be sitting up down in Toronto, without my model stuff with me, of course. And I'd be like, okay, I can't build, so I'll just watch videos. And then we all started hanging out during the week. So it started to become a chore. So that's when I identified what my slump was. My slump at that time was, this is becoming work. And I didn't get into this hobby to do a job. If I wanted to do this job as a job, I do commission work, and I tried that once and I didn't like it at all. So I decided, that's enough of that. And then I realized what I was really worried about is I was watching my views all week. And that became important. I started building models based on what would get better views. And that meant I wasn't building what I wanted to build. So I decided to step back, not do as many videos, build what I want to build, build when I want to build, do fun things when I want to do fun things. That's how I got out of my slump. I made it about me, not about, and without sounding nasty, about you. I made it like, this hobby is about me. You know, I'm building for me. I'm not building it just as a job and trying to make my narcissistic ego happy because I've got 400 views on a video. Because that's just not me. I mean, it's like I found myself caring too much about views and not about building and doing what I wanted to do. So that was how I got out of my slump. I identified why I was in a slump. It's because I didn't want to go down to the bench and build what I was building because it wasn't what I wanted to build. I was building for somebody else. And then COVID came along, and of course, we all had nothing to do, so I prolifically put up videos because I was prolifically building models of all genres. And my channel got a little bit bigger, but things are like, whatever. It was mostly about camaraderie. The views actually didn't matter because my military ones never did well, and figures, well, they don't. If you want to have a successful channel, I would have to have 3. I would have the military one, I'd have to have a car one, and I would have to have a fantasy figure one. Because the people that watch fantasy figures don't watch car or military models usually, and vice versa, and all the other ones. And so they just don't watch your channel because they never find consistency. So I stopped worrying about that and just built for me. And then, as you see, I just stopped putting up videos when I didn't want to put up a video. I've been in a slump lately because I'm tired. It's work. Sitting down at the bench became work. Now, Left Coast came up with an idea, build a model. They made you want to build and stuff like that. My first YouTube model, I ain't building that. Not a chance. That AMT 65 or 67, I don't know, whatever, Mustang, never going to build that thing again. I have it. I bought it as thinking I would, but I looked at it and went, this is a piece of junk. So what I decided to do was this. That's one of the first models I ever built. So now I'm going to paint it with the figures, with the skills that I have now. I'm going to build and weather the kitchen as I have now, and I'll build a vignette with the skills and tools that I have now. So these are the things you do to get out of a slump. These are the things you do, why you come to YouTube. And these are the things you do to come back into YouTube. So, Left Coast Models, you said enter what I was, working on. That's what I'm working on. So guys, this is probably one of the longest videos I've ever built, but you're probably going to get some more like this because I like to ramble now. Talk to you guys later. Ciao.